What does Youth Month mean to young South Africans suffering from drug addiction? And why is the use of NYAOPE most prevalent among the youth? How best can communities and families contribute towards the fight against drugs? And what are the key requirements for a successful rehabilitation program? What time is it? It's question time. Welcome to the show. My name is Hope Zinde. As the country prepares to commemorate Youth Day tomorrow, recent Stats SA research indicates that Black Africans aged between 25 and 34 are less skilled than their parents compared to other population groups. It is also these youth who make up the bulk of South Africa's unemployed. One of the social ills that continue to hit the country's youth although, is drug abuse. It is particularly NYAOPE that is said to be wreaking havoc in both urban and rural communities alike. The murder of former SABC Journalist and Board member Hope Zinde, allegedly by her son, also charged for drug possession, has sent shockwaves throughout the country. In Mpumalanga, traditional authorities have blamed NYAOPE and asthma for the deaths of 2 initiates in the province recently. But what will it take to win the fight against this NYAOPE scourge? We are live. Therefore, you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. My guest today, Quentin van Kerken. He's the director at Anti-Drug Alliance. And Elaine, Africa is a recovered drug addict. Let me welcome both of you to the show. Let me just start with you. We're talking Youth Month, 40 years of June 16. But we thought today, let's focus on young people who are suffering from the problem of drug addiction. What are your experiences?
My experience with drugs was it was a bit difficult, but when I went to rehab, then I realized that I don't need drugs anymore in my life because of the challenges I used to have and the stigma. Like people would say that one is an addict, so I started to change my life for the better, and I'm recovered for a year now from alcohol and drugs.
Now, at what age did you start using drugs?
I was already big. I was about 32.
You started at 32?
Yeah.
And what kind of drugs did you use?
I was using crystal meth and cat and Mendrax.
Were they affordable?
Yeah, it was. You make means. If you want it, you make means.
Let's talk about that, because it would appear that a lot of people are saying drugs are not necessarily cheap, but because of the addiction, you get the urge to, like you're saying, make means. You know, you go and hustle and make sure that you'll get a fix for that day or for that particular point when you need. What did you get up to?
Like it?
I mean, what did you do in order to get your fix?
Me... I would like maybe ask my mother for money, manipulate them, say maybe the child is sick or they need money for something. Sometimes steal my own things to sell it. Then I'll say, no, I'll replace it tomorrow. And I know I will never replace it just to get that fix. Yeah, then the basic thing is to lie, to steal, you cheat, you just do anything just to get those things, to smoke. You can even kill just to get a fix.
But how did you get to that point in your life?
To live?
No,
I just went in as an experiment. I wasn't depressed or what. I just wanted to experience what does drugs really do.
So you were just naughty?
Yeah, I was naughty. I was naughty. I'll be lying if I said I was depressed or sad or something. I was just naughty. Okay.
It would seem this is a common story.
The story mirrors everybody. You have to remember, Mpo, that people don't intend to become drug addicts. They really don't. Most, 99.99999% of the time, when we try something, we don't intend to become a drug addict. The first time you had a beer, did you say, here's to alcoholism? No, you don't. You don't intend for these things to happen. But I think as where we are in society, we find that there's a lot of factors involved. And, you know, I'm not even going to bore the viewers with all the scientific and all these factors involved. But what happens is drugs make you feel good. Our brains like to repeat things that make us feel good. And what happens is as soon as we start getting in, especially with drugs, we're going to repeat it over and over again and then finally step into the place that we call addiction. Dark, terrible place to be. And you know, like our friend over here said, you'll make any plan, even kill, to get your fix.
But well, I mean, I've never tried these things, you know, but I just want to take advantage that you're here. So let me get as much information as possible. What is it which you got when you were high, which you didn't get when you were not?
Can I answer that for you?
Please.
Do you know? Are you a recovered addict?
Yes, I've been out of severe addiction for 11 years now. So I've got...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got it. I do a lot of talks with in front of people. I do a lot of presentations, whatever. And I'll ask people to put their hands up if they've had an addiction or whatever. And you know, out of the group there will be a few that put their hands up. And the same, I say to them, take the negatives away. Just for a minute, take the negatives away. What did that drug or behavioral addiction give you? And everybody says the same thing. A sense of happiness, a sense of joy, a sense of peace. It took the pain away. It made me feel better. And the truth is...
Well, she was not in any pain.
It's very difficult though, because you end up in a place of despair.
Loneliness and despair.
Loneliness.
Yeah, you become you isolate yourself again. Now you are smoking and you become lonely. So the drug would be your sense of joy.
True.
So, I mean, so how different are you now that you have come clean? And we must congratulate you, by the way. You did the right thing. You had no business being where you were in the first place. But we're very happy that you have cleaned up. So how different are you?
Very different. I'm more focused. I know what I want. I'm more, if my kids have homework, I can help them. And my mind is clear. I can focus on the future and a better future for myself and for my kids.
What does a drug addict not know, which you know today?
Not focused. No? And to them, the future is like, it's the same every day. You don't have plans, oh, I need to go and cook now for my kids. You just focus on that. You don't have self-confidence. You just smoke. You don't care. You just smoke. So at least I can wake up and look nice like I look now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be at ease. And like now I'm in an MPO. It's called Mapilo Skills Development.
Okay.
Where it's for youth, for ex-inmates, addicts, and teenage parents.
Okay.
Yeah, we're learning them skills. It's been established last year.
Okay.
Yeah, January.
How accessible are rehabilitation centers?
Sure, that's a very deep, big question. For free rehabilitation, there's one of maybe a handful of private rehabilitations in the country that would do it. Most of them are run by church groups. You can look at government. Government has many rehabilitation centers. Problem there is 2013 we had Professor Malaka that goes and does a whole series of research on all of these rehabilitation centers and goes, well, we're lucky if we get a 3% success rate out of them. And this is from Limpopo University. This is not me. So it's a very low success rate. Once again, because of the prevalence of addiction in South Africa, it just really depends where you are geographically. You might be able to get in tomorrow to rehabilitation. If it's busy, you might be on a 2, 3, 4, 5 month. I've actually heard of a 6-month waiting list at the moment in some places to get into free rehabilitation. Honestly speaking, the people that are probably getting the best treatment and the best help are going into private rehabilitation centers.
So
That's from what I see, the quickest help.
what are your experiences?
No, the rehab where I was, it was fine. We got all the resources.
Who took you there?
My aunt.
Okay.
Because I was on a waiting list, Sanka. So my aunt, well, she's a social worker. She took me to the rehabilitation center.
But did you say that you have a
I did come
problem?
out. I did say I have a problem. I need help. So then they took me to rehabilitation. I first started at Sanka, then I went to rehab. And then at the rehab, then I started like sitting with myself and saying, no, is this really what I want? And to be rehabilitated, it comes from you, it starts from you. You need to be sure that now I want to leave. You can't just go to rehab because your mother said you must go, or your father, or your friends, or because of, I can't get that car if I don't go to rehab. It must come from you, your inner self. Are you ready to make a change in your life? If you're not ready to make a change, then you are not ready to be rehabilitated. So I decided that I wanted to change my life and be a better person. That's why I left. I went to rehab.
There are many young people in the townships. Mamelodi, the municipality has actually even come up with a project to try and deal with the scourge of NYAOPE and Soweto. And all over South Africa, actually, where young people are suffering from this addiction of NYAOPE. And as we celebrate or mark and commemorate June 16, which is a youth day, what would be your message to such young people?
These young people, they need to get rehabilitated, be ready to change, and to apply themselves to skills development projects. There are many MPOs that are willing to help youth to change. Those day-to-day activities they do, it's going to make them focus on better things, unlike sitting on the corner wanting money to get to buy NYAOPE. At least if you've got a skill, you can get a job, you will be welcomed into the community again, then they'll see the difference. Just to get yourself involved in skills development.
I want us to take a quick break. When we return, let's talk about the stigmatization of people who used to use drugs or former addicts and how they are accepted in the community. The number to dial is 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle @questiontime24. When we return, we'll continue our discussion. Please don't go away.
There is a sign for perfectionism. There's a sign for goosebumps. Something that symbolizes more performance. A sign for a special mindset. There is a sign for everything we stand for. Audi Sport, born on the track. Built for the road. Join the League of Performance.
Welcome back. You are still watching Question Time. Today my guests are Quentin van Kerken. He's a director at Anti-Drug Alliance, and Elaine Africa is a recovered drug user there. And Eunice, you are in Pretoria. You've been gone for too long.
Hi, Mutumba. How are you?
I'm well. Welcome back.
Thank you a lot. My comment is,
yes,
actually an advice to the South Africans to say, people are struggling to get jobs. Now, the little money that we get in our homes, people must try not to use it for wrong things. The fact of the matter is, with drugs, if you don't start them, you won't get to a point of addiction. You know, you don't have to start things like alcohol, cigarette, or drugs because they cause addiction. And ask yourself, whose life are you destroying? Who is gaining out of this? I mean, it comes due to ignorance, you know, and it's costly for the country, for the families. People are being destroyed. You know, we need future leaders who will be able to lead the nation. So people must not go through such things to destroy themselves. Thanks a lot, Mpumalanga.
Thank you very much, Eunice. That's Eunice, one of our callers there. Let's talk about stigmatization and how you are accepted once you have, you know, dropped the habit.
You know, it's very difficult. I mean, I see through our organization with people coming through our treatment program how a lot of them battle. For me, I immediately saw right in the very beginning coming out of drugs that everybody knew me as a drug addict. I'd been a drug addict for 10 years of my life, so most people knew and understood me as that. And it was very difficult to find employment, even though I am educated, I've got all the things behind my name, but people will find out. And I think that's one of the biggest fears that we have in our country, worldwide, is that once we come out of addiction, we fear that people will find out. And I think that we have to change that stigma, and we have to go, you know what, I've done this. I made some mistakes. At least what I've done is I've gone and repaired myself, healed myself. Now I'm living life. Okay. And if we start changing that mindset and explain to people, you know what, we all make mistakes. Bottom line is we have to accept that fact and move on from them.
What are your experiences in terms of stigmatization?
Yeah, we experience stigma because people, it's not easy for them to accept you. They'll always have that, hey, she's an addict, that one. They don't want to allow you to give you a chance to show them that you have changed. Like the job I had, my previous job I had, like my boss told me that I had a relapse. Whereas I never relapsed, you understand? If you try to make your life better, they'll always have that stigma. If people can support people that come from an addiction life and give them a second chance, if God can give us chances, who's the next person to judge you? Yeah.
And in terms of your family, how supportive were they?
Oh, my family was very supportive, especially my mother and my sister. Even my mother still supports me right now. Okay. Yeah, they are very supportive. They've been with me ever since I started my recovery journey till today. They support me 100%, even my family. Okay. If somebody has a negative thing to say, they'll say, no, you're talking lies. That's not the Elaine that we know. She has changed a lot. And don't always use the drugs as the excuse because she's not smoking anymore. Okay. Yeah.
Johan, you are in Amanzimtoti.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Johan.
Yes, I see you've got a question, Tom. I just want to ask a question concerning the rehab centers. Why are they so expensive? You know, really, we're talking about a lot of monies. And then the second question is, there are the community uplifting projects, centrums, what they also make use of. What I think is also very successful. However, they need the sponsorship, you know, to survive. Okay. Can't we make it more public and as well, you know, help these people to get in, you know? At this stage, it is like a winter's time now. Yes. And there are people making use of that just to get off the streets, mainly because it's a warm area there, as well as, you know, it's more comfort area there. So, but really there are people there who need it and they can't get into those places and also not can they afford it. So that's the main question what I want to...
Okay, thank you very much, John. Let me give it to you, Quentin.
Okay, when we look at government rehab, obviously it's free. Why are private treatment centres expensive? Well, the thing is, they have overheads to cover it. Oftentimes, a private treatment facility is a business. We have to look at it that way. They have staff that they have to pay. They have overheads that they have to pay. They have to feed the patients. There's a lot of expenses. There are other options. There are outpatient-based programs that are much cheaper. I mean, we know that some of the most expensive rehabs in South Africa are 250,000 Rand for 6 weeks. And then we have fantastic outpatient programs that for a 2-month program cost you perhaps 7,500 Rand, where you're getting probably better treatment than in the very expensive cushy place. So I think expensive is also relative. It's a matter of the public actually researching, finding out what is out there, because yes, there are some very affordable private treatment centers. And by affordable, you know, I know that 7,500 Rand, and I'm just using that as an example, is a lot of money for somebody. But at the same time, that is very cheap with regards to 18, 25, 60, 180 or 250,000 Rand.
Sure. Now, we're talking June 16 here.
Yes.
The youth of 76 and the youth of today are facing different challenges, and one of the main challenges is drugs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I think our society has changed dramatically. There's a lot of lonely, scared people out there. It doesn't really matter about the color of your skin these days. We're all scared. We're all worried. We're all battling to get jobs. We're all battling to make ends meet. And when something comes into your life, like a drug, like a substance, or or alcohol, or gambling, or porn, or whatever it may be, and for a few minutes just takes you away from the pain and anguish of life, you're going to want to return to it. And I think that even though we are the most we're more technologically advanced than ever before, and there are so many people being social, but at the end of the day, none of us communicate, none of us talk. I've sat in a restaurant, you know, with my family, and you look at everybody around you, and people are just on cell phones, and they're busy talking to everybody else except themselves.
Is that an addiction?
For sure.
So
100% for sure. I've seen people carry on more crazy about you taking their cell phone away than taking drugs away.
let me give you your final thoughts. What would be your message to young people there?
As I said, the young people should try to connect themselves to self-development skills projects, and especially the mothers, the people in the community, try to accept the children and then help them, give them love, support them during things like addiction so that they can also become recovered.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you found? Where are your facilities found?
I think, look, we're across the country. The Anti-Drug Alliance is across the country. We've got 3 main operating centres, obviously Johannesburg, KwaZulu-Natal and Cape Town. We do have a couple of other area offices throughout the country, but I always tell people rather go to our website, which is www.antidrugalliance.com, and all of our details on there. It's much easier that way.
Okay, and you help young people across the board?
We help as many as we can across the board. Whilst we do have certain programs in place to help people for free where we can, we can't always subsidize. For instance, our budget for the year was already met in March.
Okay.
But we're trying to get more.
All right, and in your case?
And in my case, we have a skills development project that's called Mapulo. Mapulo Skills Development. It's in Soweto, in Mfulo.
Okay.
We do skills development at a school called Libone.
Yeah.
It's for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
So young people can come
Young
there.
people can come there and
Okay.
come and teach there and come and learn a lot about our project.
Okay. Well, let me thank you, and I hope you will not relapse.
Never.
Okay.
There's no time for relapse anymore. It's time to go forward now.
Oh, thank you. That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.